Welcome to QI. Tonight, as Plato said, let no one untrained in geometry enter here, for our theme is geometry, and sitting around our conic section tonight, we have the shapely Johnny Vegas, the curvaceous Rob Brydon, the hyperbolic David Mitchell, and a square peg in a round hole, Alan Davis. So let's hear your geometrical buzzers, and Rob goes. Bermuda Triangle, disappear. Johnny goes. Do some square. Baby, I don't care. Oh. David goes.
Like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel.
And Alan goes.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, all day long.
Now, I thought we'd begin tonight with some fashion tips. Johnny, you're looking very, very svelte, if I may say so. What's your secret?
Well, it's a tidy neck.
Tidy neck?
Yeah, a tidy neck, and the buttonhole just left casual enough.
Yeah.
So if a lady should approach you, you know, she's going, there's room for change. But not too much.
Oh, that's...
Two buttons down. Part slag, part hero.
Hey, anyone have any thoughts as to why he might be looking, or might not be looking svelte?
Is it to do with the direction of his stripes?
It is to do with the direction of his stripes, Rob Brydon.
It is. Look at the picture over there. It's accentuating my breasts.
On the left, that's Alexander Armstrong on the left.
It does look a bit
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look like him.
True. Yes.
It's what they do with fat people. They make them wear stripes and you can tell how old they are. It's like cutting a tree in half.
But it's supposed to be that vertical stripes make you look slimmer, but they don't.
You're right.
That's the point.
You're absolutely right,
People,
Alan Davis.
they should wear the horizontal ones.
Yeah, the hoop.
Johnny is sporting.
It's very interesting and surprising because almost everybody thinks that vertical stripes make people look slimmer. In fact, in prisons, sometimes women have asked for vertical rather than horizontal stripes so that they look leaner, or they think they'll look leaner. But it turns out, research from a man called Dr. Peter Thompson of York University has discovered that the large majority think the one in the vertical stripe is larger than the one in the horizontal stripe when they are the same size.
It's a bit like when you're hot, the best way to cool down is not by drinking a cold drink.
Rob Brydon.
It's by going into an air-conditioned building. And then having a cold drink.
Surely this shows, actually, that it makes no real difference at all. Because we're determining whether wearing vertical or horizontal stripes makes you look thinner.
Yeah.
And you can't tell by looking. You have to do research. The difference is so slight, you have to do research with hundreds and hundreds of people. Basically, people look as fat or thin as they are.
I beg to differ.
I have a friend who's quite short, and he likes to wear vertical stripes because they make him look taller.
Only when he's not standing next to anyone. It's not going to make him look taller than a taller man. It's all relative. He'll just say, oh, there's a normal-sized man next to an enormous man. And then you go, oh, thank God, he's taking his striped shirt off. It's actually a tiny man next to a normal man.
I've missed your angry logic, David, I have to say.
I think it just alternates, doesn't it? For ages you think, OK, vertical stripes make people look thinner. Then you say, oh, she's wearing vertical stripes, therefore she must be fatter than she looks. Therefore you start thinking, oh, she looks fatter because she's wearing vertical stripes. So suddenly horizontal stripes start making you look thinner because, oh, she must be thin, otherwise she'd never dare wear horizontal stripes. Then they go, oh, no, horizontal stripes make you look thinner. Oh, she must be fat, she's wearing horizontal stripes.
These are the kind of things that go through your mind when you see someone wearing stripes.
But then what happens when you see someone walking up with polka dots and you're going, she must be 9 miles long?
The point is that, contrary to popular belief, horizontal stripes are actually more slimming than vertical ones. And now, while we're admiring fine lines, David, you may well know this because you're a bright chap. Not the others aren't. But why do columns...
I feel terrible if I don't.
Yeah, well, you. Why do columns around the Parthenon look straight?
Because they are.
You see, I don't think I know this, but I think I'm going to say something embarrassing.
Go on.
It gets wider, doesn't it? So that it looks straight, because it's further away at the top. So in order to stop it looking like it's tapering, they made it wider.
This was the theory for a long time. It's a thing called entasis, that if a column is exactly straight, then from a distance it looks as if it bows inwards. It looks spindly. So the secret is to make it bow slightly outwards, so from a distance it looks elegant and straight. But it turns out this isn't what they did after all. And that Alan's very first answer that he almost whispered, which is they look straight because they are straight.
That's not a question.
No, I know.
Why does this man look thin? Because he is. That has taken me on a whole circle, a train of thought. I'm going, the reason they look straight is because they are. And you're going, this is why I struggled in school.
It's the Q of
If
QI.
a train travels at 40 miles an hour and leaves at 9 o'clock and arrives in Glasgow at 12 o'clock, how did it get there? And you're going, because it did.
It's sort of that. It's the Q.
It's not sort of that. It's very confusing.
It's the Q of QI. It is going round in a circle, but with a little twiddly bit at the end.
Why does that look straight? Because it's not. That would have been a question.
It might have been.
Why does that look straight?
But
Because it is!
Sometimes...
Because it is!
Sometimes things look...
It's...
Please don't be unhappy, Johnny.
I'm not! I'm just confused at the start!
Fine. Let me unconfuse you, because the same man who discovered...
I try!
You do, Johnny. But no, seriously, listen. The same man, do you remember what his name was? Who discovered that hoops...
Peter Thompson.
Peter Thompson, very good. And he also discovered that the straight lines on the Parthenon are
straight.
But, Johnny, you can take it up with him because he's here tonight in the studio. Peter, where are you, Peter Thompson?
He wearing?
There he is. He's wearing a straight moustache. Hello, Peter Thompson.
Hello.
You've upset Johnny, unfortunately, but what's your point?
He's looking fantastically slim tonight because he's wearing horizontal stripes, and it is true.
I'll still have a heart attack. Thanks to stripes, I'll be in denial.
Stop that, but you will...
Yeah, what do you have to wear to look not dead when you are?
Now, why am I looking so good?
Well, you're looking good because you're wearing horizontal stripes. They will make you look taller. Vertical stripes will make you look wider, certainly.
Which is against what everybody believes, isn't it?
Yes, but someone has to do the science to show what is true. Now, if you're really fat, it's not going to make a lot of difference because the effect's not that big.
You may have roused the beast within Johnny.
I give you my theory.
Peter Thompson, thank you very much indeed. Dr. Thompson, everybody. Excellent. There you are.
Who was it that first saw some pillars that looked straight and thought, oh, that must be because they bulge, rather than that they are just straight?
I think it does exist, this entasis, but it happens not to on the Parthenon. There are other places where it does quite notably happen there, where from the right distance they look straight but are quite bowed. And other people believe that they may be bowed upwards just for structural reasons, that it helps them stand up more. Are you good on Greek, Doric and other such columns?
I'm amazing, don't get me started.
Would you like to see some Greek columns and identify them for me? Those are the three classic
I had
orders.
these in a book in my loo, and I've forgotten to memorise them.
Oh, any thoughts? Anyone know?
Well, the right-hand one, they got slightly wrong, haven't they? It's a little bit slightly too far to the right.
No, that is the way they... Yeah, it holds up. That's the Corinthian order, and it's the most decorated, but it starts on the left with the Doric, and then the middle is Ionic. There's one thing that's really missing. Do you know the one thing that is so common that
The rest of the building.
Well, arches. They had so much, the Greeks, but they never had an arch. And because they didn't have an arch, they therefore didn't have a vault or a dome. So there's nothing round in Greek
No
architecture.
arches at all?
No, it's all
The
sort of lintel
Romans,
and...
the Romans must have found that hilarious
when they discovered it, because
when they invaded. What, you say your husband's a builder? When's he home? Because I've got some notes for him.
What do the words mean?
Doric?
Yep.
It's a part of Greece. And Ionia was at the Ionian Sea.
Oh, so they're
and
different
Corinth,
regions.
the Gulf of Corinth. Yeah, they're in the middle of the regions.
For an extra point, Stephen,
Yes, go on.
what makes these different to Christopher Wren's columns at the Guildhall in Windsor? Let me turn the tables on you, Stephen.
There are a number of
He's here
Christopher Wren
tonight.
fables about how his columns don't reach the ceiling. It's also said of his library at Trinity in Cambridge, the same thing, that they insisted on extra columns,
Yeah.
and the guides will always tell you this, and it probably is true. And he said,
yeah.
doesn't need extra columns.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you've got to have extra columns, it'll fall down. So he put in the extra columns, but he left a kind of like
this-
gap, didn't he,
yeah.
about that thick.
This is what the guide at Windsor told me to prove that he could
Yes.
do it
Yeah.
without them reaching. Now, my point is, Stephen, if you let me get it out, is that these do touch the ceiling.
You're right,
Well, I
they do.
think
Beautifully put, and some points for you at once.
And surely, even with Christopher Wren's building, some of the columns must touch it.
You're thinking of David Copperfield.
I mean, he was a
Yeah.
great architect,
Yes.
but he did not invent the hover ceiling.
No, that was David Blaine, and it just hovered like that.
Very true.
I've seen so many people who bought the council homes and put these up.
Yeah, these columns.
I drive past them every day and I've never questioned
No?
the different styles, the different nuances.
Yeah, it's rather wonderful. And there's a name for every single part. You know, even the
What about the
Fiat
two lions on the
Aris-
gatepost?
Yeah. Do you have lions on your gate?
Jeff and Marge.
Jeff and Marge. That answer was quick enough for me to believe you do have it. Very pleasing. Well, there you are. The columns on the Parthenon look straight because they are straight, basically. Now, look at these two shapes. They have names, all right? Yeah,
Kapow.
one is the Kiki and the other is the Booba. Tell me which is which.
Booba's on the right, clearly.
Booba's on the right, would you agree with
Oh,
that?
definitely Kiki, that's the spiky one.
Kiki's the
definitely.
spiky one, would you agree?
I would say Kiki is the splodgy one,
Yeah.
and Boober is the spiky one.
Yeah.
Oh, would you? You'd say the other way around. And what would you say, Johnny? God, I hate to think.
I would say they should go back to their dating agency. And ask for the refund.
Yes. Shall we ask the audience what they think? If you think Kiki's one on the left, put your hand up. Well, that's a huge majority. So you obviously think the Booba's on the right. Who thinks the Kiki may be the one on the right? Put your hands up. So a few of you going along with Rob.
Are you all Welsh? Very interesting.
There is no right or wrong answer. Wolfgang Köhler was an
A
investigator.
pirate!
A pirate. That's the word I was after. I wanted to say psychologist. I looked at you and all I could think of was psychiatrist. I
don't know if it's the same in other languages, but in English, point sounds pointy, blob sounds blobby.
That's the point. And the point is that it's true in all languages. That kiki sound, to anybody, whatever their culture, whatever their background, they would think that was the spiky one there, the one on the left,
Crack
the blue one.
and
a
slop.
b thing they would think of as a blobby thing. And
Is it a form of onomatopoeia, Stephen?
It kind of is a form of honour, as you rightly say, matter, as you pointed out, Piers. Well done. That's right. Exactly what I would say. Yes, it is. And it seems to go deep within us in whatever our culture. And there are other languages, for example, in Huambisa, which is a South American language, 98% of people who didn't speak Huambisa, when seeing the words chunchuikit and morts, thought that if one was a fish and one was a bird, that Chuntrikit would be a bird and Morts would be a fish.
Flap, flap, flap.
Somehow, yeah. There is a deep onomatopoeia, it seems, within...
And yet, the Welsh word for carrot is moron.
Is it?
So there we go again, bucking the trend.
I'd say as if moron was going to be a word for a food, I'd say it would be for something, you know, more like a mousse or a, you know, a pate,
A
maybe.
potato. I would see a baked potato.
Well, they're quite blunt, aren't they, carrots?
Yes, but
Moron is the Greek for blunt, which is why it means obtuse, blunt-witted. Oxy is sharp, moron is blunt, hence oxymoron being a
carrot is right for carrot because it's crunchy. Carrot. When you bite it, carrot. Moron, there's nothing moron-y, is there?
Yes.
Unless you're being inappropriate with your carrot and going...
Whoa.
So what about onion rings?
Yeah.
Exactly, but what rules do
Moorish
they
rather
come
than
under?
moron. So, well...
Onion rings.
No, let's not... It's not that every single word in every language is onomatopoeic. It's merely that an example like that shows...
They often are, though, aren't they?
They often are. Yeah.
Desk.
Yeah. And...
Desk. Tin. Tin. Boo.
This is how you teach a chimp to speak.
Well, then pay attention. Paper.
Very mean and most unjustified. Yeah, and mother and father. In a lot of languages, the mother is the m towards you, and the father is the b, like abba, and da is the away from you.
Speaking as a father, can I say that my parenting doesn't consist of that?
No, it's the baby doing that. It's the baby's going, the mother is towards me, and the father's the one over there, the da. He's there. That's in a lot of
what
languages.
If he's here?
Well, yeah, all right. He sometimes is, but mostly...
Don't get cross with me.
For example...
He's asked you some absolutely ludicrous things tonight, and you've sat there going, oh, with your northern charm.
No.
I give you one query, you look at me like an arse.
I was just... I can't answer...
You've done this before on this show. Did I question something?
Now on, you're my friend and my pet, Rob, and I'm very sorry. Maybe I think you can take it more and that John is a little more vulnerable. I don't know why I would think that, because he's got big, soft-side eyes. Oh, you see?
My eyes are soft.
Oh, they are, that's true.
Oh, your eyes are keen. Mine are soft, yours are keen.
Mine are not
You're
keen.
looking for the weakness for the side. David, I just...
Johnny has the eyes of trust, you have the eyes of prostitution.
Whoa!
I tuned out. I thought I was watching the Mr. Men behind Alan's head. I've given them different names.
Well, what names have you given them?
Mr. Frost and Gonorrhea.
He does look like Mr. Frost, actually, doesn't he?
Oh.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like Gonorrhea, but
I've never seen Mr. Gonorrhea in the series. With Arthur Lowe's voice.
Okay, well, it could be a humpback duck. I don't know. I like the bright colours.
Yes.
I like my eyes, and I like the fact you leave me alone when I go quiet.
Me too. Well done, everybody there. Sharks and chimpanzees and all. After that display of topological trickery, perhaps we should get back to our books. So, can you tell me what the most successful textbook of all time is?
Is it the one that teaches you what LOL means and LMAO?
It probably is now, lol
yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
No, what's our theme for the day?
Geometry.
Oh, it's the
Logarithms.
It's
Not logarithms,
No,
no.
not logarithms.
Do you want my eyes? Do you like my eyes?
Stephen, is it logarithms?
No. It's not logarithms. There's a jolly good guess.
Some sort of ancient geometrical textbook
Yes.
written probably by a Greek.
Kites for beginners.
Euclid.
Euclid is the right answer, David Mitchell, absolutely. Euclid's Stoichia, Euclid's Elements. And these propositions of Euclid are basically all about planes and the conical sections and all the forms of the circle and the square, the provable facts of geometry that are the basis of everything, really, all the physics that came afterwards, all the geometry.
He essentially turned out and said, this is why all the buildings have been falling down.
Yeah, well, there's an element to that, because engineering obviously owed a huge amount to it. Many mathematicians will believe his book is perhaps the most beautiful of all the mathematical books. We're looking at there, I think, one of the earliest editions. What's it say there? The most something philosopher. I can't actually read it.
Yeah, I'm brilliant with Latin. I just
No,
can't
it's written
read
in
it.
English. The Elements. But the names, you're right, the names are written in Greek there.
Yeah, that's what threw me.
Elizabeth's court magician, John Dee, Queen Elizabeth I. Have you heard of John Dee? Yeah, he was a very extraordinary man who worked as a spy. Now, there are points here, if you can tell me the cipher he used as a spy.
Did he use invisible ink?
No, he had a particular cipher, his call sign. And a writer many, many, many years later, who was extremely learned in the ways of the world, despite being thought of just as a thriller writer, used it for his own
Ian
spy.
Fleming.
Yes, so...
007.
007, exactly. It was John Dee's call sign.
I sense points.
You get points. In fact, you will have 7 points.
7 points?
Yeah, very good. Excellent. I could have 700 if you're backwards. That's too much.
I'm
No,
not going to
7.
speak again.
Yeah, and he was also one of the people responsible for bringing Euclid to the attention of the world. Although he was known as a magician, he was all kinds of different things. Many people.
Was he an astrologer as well?
He was an astrologer as well, absolutely right, yeah. But interestingly, or quite interestingly, which is all we're after, it was a pop-up book, Euclid, when John Dee produced it. Little pop-up geometric shapes. Yeah, yeah. Pop-up books were for adults way back then.
The thing is, with pop-up books, when you read normal books, you end up, like, putting them in front of you and just kicking them from behind because you think they're lazy.
What, so you're going, oh, come on, do something!
Come on! What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then, as a 19-year-old, you explain the difference between an illustration and a pop-up.
That difference is, for points?
Well, if you kick the book hard enough, you break the spine and it's very hard to take it back to a second-hand bookshop. Most of the pages fall off.
They would do.
So you could do a pop-down book. That'd be like a good murder
You
weapon.
could hold a pop-up book upside down.
That'd be really bad if you're paranoid. If you open a book and every time you turn the page it goes, oh. And what happened to the giant?
Oh. Now, Euclid's Elements has been a mathematical bestseller for over 22 centuries. Now, let's get our noses out of our textbooks and into our tuck boxes. What do you call a left-handed lemon?
A potato.
No, but you're thinking along the right lines. We're talking about molecules and their arrangement.
You mean the opposite to a lemon?
Yeah, exactly. The mirror image of its molecular aroma.
Orange.
Is the right answer. There's a lemon, obviously.
7 points.
There's an orange, 7 points. That's your number.
You know I'm good at catching.
There, you can stop a roll. No, you can't. Fair enough. There's a lemon for you. There we are. Who else wants one?
Yeah, go on.
Well done. Have a lemon. There you are.
I'm all right, Steve.
Did he make scissors for both? Or just a lemon. Just a lemon cuts out boys and girls together in a piece of paper, and the orange is going, I'm rubbish at this.
Because I'm left-handed.
Yeah, it just looks like a bunch of oranges falling over.
It's along those lines, Johnny, yes. The arrangement of the aroma molecules is exactly the same, except a mirror image. And the result is as different a smell as the smell of a lemon to an orange.
So if you smell an orange from the wrong direction, it smells like a lemon?
It doesn't quite work like that, because this particular quality of chirality, as it's called, is present in our nose molecules as well. So it hooks onto them, and we recognise them in the same way.
So the molecules, as it were, dock with other molecules in a certain direction?
Yeah, kind of do. It's all very chemical, obviously, but it's interesting because all these chemicals that are discovered to be right-handed and left-handed, like glucose, only right-handed glucose can be metabolized by the body. And so natural glucose in sugar, for example, is all right-handed, and all the left-handed ones are the diet ones, sucralose and that sort of thing, which are the ones that aren't metabolized, and therefore you can eat as much as you like without gaining weight, because they don't get metabolized by the body. So there are useful sides to it, this kind of handedness of chemicals.
You've got to go in and ask for right-handed fruit.
Are you left or right-handed? Which are you?
I'm right-handed, but you know what's really interesting?
Yeah.
My friend thinks he's right-handed, but his wife thinks his handwriting is so bad because he's left-handed and lives in denial.
Ah. Any left-handers?
No, he's rubbish.
Do you know the proportion of right-handed people around the world, not just as opposed to left-handed?
9 out of 10.
Just about. It's a little less. They think it's between 70 and 90.
It'll be far less when the war comes.
With the what? The Morecambs?
The war comes.
What's a Morecambe?
The left-handed and the right-handed.
War comes.
Not when the war...
Oh, when the war comes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I thought it was a family called the Morecambes.
Surely one day the right-handed will rise up and crush the left-handed.
They may do.
Yeah, because there's no way I'm feasting on that.
Fair point, I think. But yeah. So, yes, is there a prevailing theory as to why right-handedness is the most common?
Well, isn't it sides of the brain and, you know, different sides do different things and you look off to the right when you're making up a lie, you look to the left if you're recalling something real.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's to do with that and how straight the columns are within your brain and whether or not they actually touch the roof of your head.
The molecules that make oranges smell orangey and lemons smell lemony are the same, just mirror images. So a left-handed lemon, in a sense, is an orange. Perhaps we should examine an easier shape. How many cricket pitches are there in Kansas?
One big one.
Well, there's certainly it's a big square shape, but not a cricket pitch shape, Kansas.
It's to do with the measurement of corn, isn't it? It's to do with the measurement... It's nothing to do with the measurement of
No,
corn.
you're on exactly the right lines. Americans... How do they measure? Do they use the metric system or do they use a version of our imperial system?
They use yards and feet and miles and...
Yes, and the length of a cricket pitch, which is?
22 yards.
22 yards, and it's called a chain.
OK.
And when America was being measured out, they used these ancient English measurements. A chain, as I say, is 22 yards. There are 10 chains to a word that's still used in sport.
Furlong?
A furlong, brilliant. 4 points, 7 points. 80 chains to a...
Mile?
Mile, yes, excellent. Would you
Mile.
very well here. And an acre is 10 square chains. That's where an acre is derived. OK? And this man, Gunter's chain, he actually had a chain that he used, like that, to measure out the land. So the whole of the northern Midwestern states were initially into blocks of 24 miles by 24, and within that subdivided into 20 chains by 20 chains, known as 40s, because that would be 40 acres. You may remember in The Grapes of Wrath, the Steinbeck novel, that the farmstead is the smallest type of farm, which is known as a 40.
I know a thing about the 40.
Oh, yes.
The 40 acres.
Yeah.
Did they not, when they had the emancipation of the slaves, were they not each entitled to a 40?
Yeah.
That was indeed
And
right.
a mule, which is
Yeah.
why Spike Lee called his
Yes.
Yeah.
company
Yes.
40 acres and a mule. That's
Brilliant.
the thing I know about the 40.
7 points again. It's just the 7
is
times
the-
table.
And is the country still divided by the
Well,
Willie Nelson
yes.
line?
You can see them there. This is from the air. And because Kansas, which is one of the most rectangular shapes of any of the states, almost perfectly so, you can actually calculate how many it is. And it's 3,474,386,388 cricket pitches would fit in there, in fact.
That's quite different to the answer I had in mind.
Is it? How, well, you can save it by telling me what's the capital of Kansas? What city is the capital? of Kansas?
Arkansas.
No, that's another state. I need a name of it.
It's...
Kansas City.
Oh, it's not all those sevens you'd said. Squirrel all your sevens away. It's Topeka, if that's of any help. Topeka, Kansas?
I've never even heard of Topeka.
No. Topeka, Kansas. Well,
Topeka mockingbird?
Topeka Moss. Little gurgle. But actually, surprisingly, in terms of real cricket pitches, for playing cricket on, there are 7 that we can find in Kansas.
Just 7?
7, which is more than you might expect.
Not in a space of that size. That's
Well,
hardly any.
Not really, for America.
They've got room for more than 3 billion
Yeah, we know
more.
they've got room for more, but...
Wow.
There you are. Is that you or Mike Gatting? I can't see. There you are.
Of course, if you talk about that area, I mean, Elvis would be one of the most famous citizens. Now, where was Elvis born? Does anybody know that? Tupelo,
Tupelo,
Mississippi.
yeah.
Of course, then he moved to
Memphis,
Memphis in a different
Tennessee,
state,
yeah.
Tennessee. And that was where he became very, very famous and started off in 1955 with That's All Right Mama. He was with the Sun record label at that point in Memphis. Then he signed
Sorry,
with
is this-
RCA Victor Records in New York. Now, with them, of course, he did Heartbreak Hotel right the way through the movie
He
years.
turned his back
the
on
si-
Sam Phillips, and that was...
Well, no, because Sam came to his opening night in
Yeah,
Vegas in
I know,
'69,
in the end.
and Elvis can be heard saying, "Sam, this one's for you." And I think Sam, with the greatest respect, Stephen, I think it's more my area than yours. It's not something I ever thought I'd get a chance to say. He then went on until his untimely death in 1977.
Is this
I
when
haven't
he
said
is-
anything for a while.
What, yeah,
Date again?
August 16, 1977.
Yeah.
It's like Radio 2 in the middle of the night.
He has come out with such bilge. And you sit there like we're in Rain Man, loving it. I come out with something factual. There are a lot of Elvis fans out there who will have been loving that.
Why are they all catching? Why is nobody actually playing in the middle? Why is nobody explaining cricket
They
to
are,
them?
but they're behind that bloke.
Oh, I don't
I assume he's waiting to go in. Bless
Nothing
him.
to see.
Anyway, after that bombshell, and I do love you, Rob, and I want you to know that. I really, really, really do.
Yeah, but don't say it while you're reading
I
something
like...
else.
no,
That's what my dad always did on my birthday. Of course I love you. I'm reading it here. It's what your mother wrote.
Tell me the oldest international sporting fixture on Earth.
England v Australia at cricket.
No, it is cricket, though.
England v Scotland.
No, it's America versus Canada at cricket. But we're going to take a bird's eye view now. What's the best place to go to look into the future? If you want to look into the future, where should you go?
A sci-fi convention.
A sci-fi convention?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, OK. That's maybe. Any other...
When you see the stars and the sun and all that light, that's old light.
That's looking into the past, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So do you have to go past that?
You look backwards because history teaches us the future. Because from history, we learn patterns. And as Dr. Phil says time and time again, the greatest indicator of future behaviour is past behaviour.
When are you going to realise he's not interested?
I'm sorry.
Tell him you're interested.
I'm very interested in that. That's a very, very good answer.
Unlike when you speak, he's not frightened.
There is, just to return briefly, just to pull the reins in, if I may a little. There is, of course, a very good answer, but there is a place where physically you can, as it were, look into the future. Of course, you're not literally looking into the future.
Is it like by the international date line?
The international date line, exactly.
Does it have the magic hill where you're going up even though you...
Oh, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, this is literally the date line, which
See,
is...
that was stupid.
No, it
He
wasn't.
entertained me.
No, it wasn't stupid.
I knew that was wrong, and he went, no, of course it's not Johnny, but with you, he just doesn't like you.
This divides the...
Thanks, Stephen.
That's fine. Oh, come on. So that if you're on... Well, looking at it, we'd say the left-hand side of that red line, right, is in time ahead of the right-hand side. So if you were to fly from Los Angeles, in America on the coast there, to Sydney, Australia, you would lose a day, as I did, in fact, just a few months ago.
If I stood perfectly on that line...
You drown.
And let's just say...
Unless you're still on the very spot.
If I stood on that line...
Yeah.
And there's an accident, you could jump over the line and stop yourself from doing it.
Aside...
You could warn yourself,
Yeah.
you could wave back and
Aside
You're
from...
thinking of Michael
Does it
J.
work
Fox.
both sides? Can you jump back and stop yourself making mistakes?
No, obviously it can't literally do that.
But if you lost a day flying, so essentially it was 2 days later.
I
and
went on
you'd
the
only-
18th of December and I arrived on the 20th.
having only lived 1 day.
Having only flown for, the
So
normal-
you were only a day older, and yet the world was 2 days older.
Yeah.
Well, part of the world was 2 days older.
Yeah.
So if you did that every day, you'd live twice the number of days of most humans and would appear, despite only having lived, say, 80 years, to have lived for 160.
But you wouldn't
Yes,
really,
it
would
is.
you?
People would go, it's amazing, 160-year-old man, what did he achieve? Nothing. He had a lot of airlines.
Would you struggle to hold down a job?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes,
would.
he would.
In terms of a pension?
But you might be able to do it if you lived on the Diomede Islands, the Lesser and the Greater Diomede, which are up there at the very top. What's that area of water called between Russia and...
Bering Strait.
The Bering Strait, exactly. And we can zoom in there, and you can see there's the international date line, and there is big Diomede and small Diomede, the Greater and the Lesser Diomede.
So if you were stood with your child and he had a pet rabbit and it died,
Right.
could you jump over that timeline with the rabbit
It would come back to life, still be
and
very
then
ill
jump
and
back
die.
with it?
I'm going to ask you what your opinion is. What do you think?
I think, me personally,
Yeah.
but I'm selfish,
Yeah.
what I would do, I'd get a jet ski and stay on the line and go around the world.
Right. Yes.
and stay at my perfect weight and this age for the rest of my life. And I would just go around the world continually following that line, shouting advice and being mistaken for God.
And if you did follow the line all the way over the pole, where would you end up?
So the line doesn't go all the way around?
Well, of course, yes, it does. The other side of the pole...
You'd end up in Greenwich,
Yeah,
eventually.
it's the Greenwich Meridian on
so
that
at
side.
the meantime, when people go, he's not God, he's Satan.
No.
So then
The
I'd be
point is,
Satan
the
for a
line
bit
is
and go,
arbitrary. The line is...
Fill your boots.
We decided to draw a line. Somewhere we had to, you know, divide the world up for maps and for navigation.
How did we
lines
do
of longitude
that?
and... Well, we decided that where the naval
We
base...
didn't.
Yes, we did. Literally in Britain we did.
Yeah, but we
No,
didn't.
our culture did some 100 years ago. We nominated Greenwich
So
to
I
be a
can't-
line. When we discovered the Earth was round and we discovered how these things would best be parcelled out, we said, well, let's have a meridian line about which the rest will go, and we decided to put it through Greenwich where the naval colleges were.
So a line is straight 'cause it's straight, but I can't be God on a jet ski.
That's about right. That seems to be the sum of today's
I wouldn't be
lesson.
surprised now if my parents came in and had a quiet word with you and asked if Johnny could be taken to another class because they feel Rob isn't learning.
That's exceptionally well expressed. All right.
But hang on, though.
Yeah.
The international date line is wiggly. The
Yes.
Greenwich Meridian isn't.
No, you're right. It passes round territories and island groups for various reasons.
So basically, two houses on the same street aren't on two different
Well,
days.
in fact, it tries to avoid going through land as part of the... It only goes through water. The closest it gets is there. There it's Whittle.
Does small
Whittles.
Diomede look at big Diomede and watch people get
Yes,
older
there are...
faster?
Yeah, exactly. You can look. So if you're standing on big Diomede, you are looking at the past. If you stand at little one, you're looking... So it's sort of Friday and you're on big Diomede, you see them on Thursday. And
you're already
and
drunk.
vice versa. Yeah, you're already drunk.
They're hungover.
Well, I think we're... Are you ready to move on?
Yes.
Good. So the best place to see into
I'm
tomorrow...
tired of being God.
Oh, bless. The best place to see into tomorrow is the Diomede Islands, which are on the opposite sides of the international date line. It's a paradox, but now try this one. Where does the extra square in this diagram come from? Those two are the same size, aren't they? And they're all made up of elements that are the same size. You can actually see... Can you see there's a white square there, of bits missing?
Oh, yeah.
How can that be?
Because some of the triangles...
Have a look at it actually happening. Because, whoop, that one goes there, that one goes there, that goes there, whoa, like so, like so, like so.
So now there's more space in there.
Yeah, and that can't be possible. Can it?
And yet my eyes tell me it is.
Yes.
It's not even longer. It's
It's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, there it is. It is a cheat.
That's witchcraft.
Yeah, it is rather, isn't it? Funny enough, rather appropriate, it was a magician who discovered this.
It's 5 blocks high.
5 blocks high.
The same number of blocks long, by the look of it.
It's a very small, subtle cheat. The hypotenuse in the top one and in the bottom one seems to be the same, but they are curved, they're not straight. The red triangle has a ratio of 5 to 2, the blue triangle has a ratio of 8 to 3, so the two triangles are not similar.
So it's going like that
Yeah,
and
it's-
like that.
exactly.
With
One
a
of them is
bigger
dipped.
area.
Exactly. One of them has a slightly dipped line, the other has a slightly up line. The eye assumes they're straight, and it's puzzled by that gap. Anyway, we thought you'd like that. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, there's...
Quite like.
Yeah. So it's Curry's paradox. It's simply a trick. The gap appears because the hypotenuse is imperceptibly bent. All of which
Curry's
brings...
paradox.
Yeah, it's nice that, isn't it?
Should you buy the insurance? Or just risk it?
All of which brings us squarely up against our old friend, general ignorance. So fingers on buzzers, if you would. What's the best place to punch a shark?
In a pub. In a pub after loads of pork scratchings when he's really dehydrated. And then you look really hard and people who aren't sharks go, don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
In the eye.
In the eye is the right answer, yes. Yeah. A lot of people, for some reason, seem to think the nose. They may be confusing with dogs. But the eye is the best place. Or the gill. The eye or the gill. It so happens that more people in the world are bitten by New Yorkers every year than they are by sharks.
But not in the water, though.
I think, though, you have to take into account the relative seriousness of that event.
Well, no, actually, funnily enough. 81% of victims attacked and bitten by sharks suffered minor injuries.
OK, how many New Yorkers a year bite someone's leg off?
I don't know, but they may well cause rabies and other hideous diseases. And certainly more people are killed in America by lavatory accidents than sharks. But what saddens me is 120 million sharks every year are killed by us human beings.
For their fins?
And just for their bloody fins.
Just
And
for
it's
what, sorry?
Fins.
Shark fins
Often
too.
the rest of the body's thrown in the water. It's a tasteless thing, a shark fin as well. It doesn't even taste of anything. Chicken stock has to be added to it to give it flavour.
But I hate sharks.
Well, why would you? They are beautiful, extraordinary
Well,
animals. They
they
don't harm anybody. What, because you find them ugly?
I think they're scary. They're incredibly scary. Every cell in my body, when I see that, says, it is the enemy.
They've got far more reason to be scared of a human than a human
Majority
has
of
of a
mammals
shark.
see human beings in exactly...
I would say they would. But look at the miracle of their teeth. That's extraordinary. They have rows of teeth. No, listen. Their teeth go backwards. And they bite, and then they fall out, and the next one literally comes forward, they've got conveyor belt of rows of teeth going all the way back in there.
But more impressive than that, Stephen, is how she's managed to do her lipstick underwater.
It is right, isn't it? Very pretty and charming.
Now your talk of razor-sharp teeth on a conveyor belt's making them sound quite sweet.
So, anyway, a shark's nose is a shade too close to its mouth to go jabbing around there, so your best bet is to go for the gills or the eyes. How many legs does an octopus have?
I mean...
The clue is in octo.
Does it vary, depending on the breed?
2 legs is the right answer. Yeah.
I saw one in Panto.
Yay! That's to say, when octopuses move around on the bottom of the ocean, they use 2 of their tentacles for kind of ambulatory gait, as you can see behind there, and the other 4 they use for holding food and so on. So they could be said to have 2 legs and 6 arms. How much of the moon can you see from the Earth?
Well, you can see one side of it.
Yes. There is this strange thing called libration, which is it's like vibration beginning with an L. It's a thing that was noted by quite a few of the early astronomers.
Can I say, sorry, Stephen, but if that's an acceptable way of defining a word...
What?
Libration. It's
just
like vibration, but beginning with an L.
Just so that you could picture it in your heads, is that bad?
I was with you already, just with libration.
I thought you might have heard it as libation or something like that, that's all.
What does it mean?
Well, I was about to tell you, and then somebody came and said... No, I'll tell you. You get this kind of jiggling effect. Basically, what it comes down to is you can see about 59% of the surface
at one
of the
time
moon from Earth. Obviously, when it's a new moon or whatever, then you see it's a lot less. But you can see 59% of the surface, rather than just 50, that's all. And that cosmic wobble brings us to the end of another QI show. So it's time to check the form and see what sort of scores we're dealing with. My word, it's absolutely fascinating. It couldn't be fascinating-er. We have a tie, would you believe it, for 3rd place. Rob and Johnny on +2. Wow. In 2nd place, of course, with 4 points, is David Mitchell. I've got a feeling this is divisible by 7, and it's 21 points for Alan Davis! Whoa! And that's all from this geometrical edition of QI. So it's good night from Johnny, Rob, David, Alan, and me. Good night.
The Rio delegation is off to view the Olympic Stadium by coach this Tuesday at 10 in spoof documentary 2012, which may well be the year they get there. And Rob Brydon back in a little under 2 minutes with his own show.